Remember when lunchboxes were metal, TV had only 3 channels, and when the future meant bright chrome and rocket ships? Welcome to the Rocket Kid Chronicles by David Stafford.
Chapter 5. Tormentor-Protector. With great power comes great responsibility. When I first caught sight of my baby sister, she was swaddled in a soft pink blanket, carrying a delicate hint of talcum powder and the scent of new beginnings. Dad had gone into Valley Doctor's hospital to fetch her and Mom, leaving me unattended in the car. I sat amid the dim green light from the parking lot lights, pressing my face against the window and straining to catch a glimpse of them. When the doors flew open, there she was, bundled tight and cradled like something precious and fragile. My father rested a hand on my shoulder with the seriousness I'd never seen before. "This is your sister. It's your job to protect her." That sentence engraved itself into my heart like a permanent tattoo. At first, I thought protecting her meant guarding my treasured belongings from her sticky, exploratory fingers, or from her accidentally ingesting a Lego. Slowly, I learned that she would drive me to the edge of madness, and I would love her beyond all reason. I teased her for being smaller and slower, and for being gullible enough to believe my wild tales. I pilfered her toys, tattled on her mischief, and made her cry. But the moment an outsider teased her, or so much as looked at her funny, something instinctive and a bit unhinged flared inside me. I puffed up my chest like an indignant gorilla, clenched my fists, and became a small, furious guardian, ready to defend her against any foe. Leanne was the sparkle of our household, the one who made even the dullest days bright. I can still see her on the floor, singing a tune of her own invention while coloring. I can still feel how I pretended not to notice how much I liked having her there. Her laughter still rings in my ears, clear, unguarded, and entirely her own. We grew up like most siblings, negotiating the line between affection and all-out warfare. Our universe revolved around bicycles, cartoons, and backyard sprinklers. She trusted me implicitly, even when I stumbled along the way. Still, she never wavered in her belief that I would come through when it really mattered. My career as a protector hit a spectacularly catastrophic snag over a seemingly insignificant rubber ball. Leanne clutched it as if it were a prized possession, and I, as the older brother and self-proclaimed ruler of all toys, demanded that she hand it over. She refused, her eyes narrowing in defiance. Irritation and authority swelled inside me. I informed her, with mock theatrics, that if she didn't hand over the ball, I'll break your collarbone. I didn't know what a collarbone was, let alone how to break one. When she still didn't comply, I gave her a shove, just enough to establish who was in charge. She fell awkwardly, landing wrong, and the sound she made wasn't the usual fake cry. It was sharp and genuine. The room turned quiet. Even the television seemed to go silent. I could hear my own breathing. She looked at me with more shock than pain, as if she couldn't believe I'd followed through on my threat. I couldn't believe it either. The rest happened in a blur of antiseptic smells, squeaky linoleum, and hospital corridors that seemed to stretch into the next county. I stood in the exam room doorway, staring at my shoes and wishing I could dematerialize on the spot. The guilt arrived in waves, huge and suffocating. When she finally came home, small and fragile in her new sling, she looked at me without a single shred of anger, which, of course, made me feel about 3 inches tall. Something fundamental changed in me that day. I realized that being the older brother wasn't about being the strongest person in the room. It was about the terrifying burden of responsibility. My words had mass. My actions had consequences. I kept teasing her, of course, but the cruelty evaporated. Beneath the noise of childhood, a protective instinct settled in. My father's charge, given on that quiet night in the hospital parking lot, finally became a solid, unshakable reality. I never forgot that lesson, or the haunting sound of her fall. We joked about it over the years, and she would occasionally remind me that I kept my promise a little too well. Beneath the noise of life, I always heard the echo of that day, and the vow that followed. No one would ever hurt her again, not even me. Even as we grew and drifted into adulthood, I felt its presence. Just like that first night when the hospital doors opened, a small bundle of pink entered my world, and I was told she was mine to protect.
Stay tuned for more of the Rocket Kid Chronicles.
Up next, the benefits of a shady barter system.